Hi class, my name is Raylene, and today I will be presenting to you my reasoning as to why I believe abortion is having a strong effect on society. Easy access to abortion has a harmful effect on society because we have widespread access to abortion clinics and people are using abortion as an alternative for birth control. And during the process, they're developing mental health problems. My first secondary claim is because women around the world have easier access to abortion clinics now than they ever have before. In 2011, according to the AGI, there was 1,720 clinics in the U.S. And out of those 1,720 clinics, there were 512 in California alone. As long as you are 16 years or older, you can walk into a clinic or a hospital and request to have an abortion be done without parent consent. Clinics and hospitals are not allowed to get in contact with your parents and let them know what is going on. Everything is kept confidential unless you state otherwise. The AGI also mentions 40% of minors having an abortion report that neither of their parents knew about the abortion. The Guttmacher Institute stated in 2011, 1.1 million American women obtained abortions, producing a rate of 16.9 abortions per 1,000 women of reproductive age. The numbers have decreased since 2008, when the abortion rate was 19.4 abortions per 1,000 women ages 15 to 44. It is alarming to know how many babies are being killed due to people being irresponsible and having unprotected sex. My second claim is society has lost respect for a life of another human being. Instead of using protection, they are becoming careless. If they get pregnant, the result is an abortion. For people that support abortion, to them it is nothing more than a fetus. But to someone who is against abortion, it is a child the day contraception takes place. As soon as 5 weeks old, your baby's brain, spinal cord, and heart begin to develop, as well as blood cells, kidney cells, and nerve cells all develop. Women are allowed to have abortion for up to 22 weeks during their pregnancy. In 2011, according to the CDC, 7.3 of all abortions occurred between 14 and 20 weeks gestation. 1.4% of those occurred after being 20 weeks pregnant. And lastly is even though women are choosing the easy way out and deciding to go forward with an abortion, their mental health is beginning to suffer. There are multiple side effects women could suffer from that varies from depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD, and drug abuse, and elevated drug abuse and alcohol. Each effect does vary from woman to woman. Thank you.
All right, Raylene, some of the same criticisms that I made for Vanessa before are going to apply here. You're kind of rushing through the argument. I think we need a little bit more context. The secondary points are labeled, but again, without much context, they seem like they are coming up arbitrarily. On the individual points, I think you have evidence on each of the points, which is helpful, but sometimes those points need a little bit more explanation, and definitely I think you need a little bit more backup on a couple of the points. The goal, it feels like it's to get done as fast as possible instead of to be as convincing as necessary, and I think that you need to work on the convincing part of your argument as well. The secondary points, when you labeled them, the first one was pretty clear. The second point that you have is on the brink of a value claim, and so I think you might want to pull back a little bit and argue the factual issue more distinctly. I wasn't even sure that you had a distinct third point, whether it was supposed to be part of that second point or a distinct third point. I think that needed to be a little bit clearer as well. Early on, you did a good job citing some statistics and factual data about the number of clinics, and about the number of abortions that are happening, the changes in the rates that are going on. The stuff, though, that says that there is a problem as a consequence of this, that's a little bit iffier, because there's only on the second point is there the inference that there's something wrong with doing this, that there's a difference of opinion about whether or not people see this as being a life or, deserving of protection. That's kind of where you get into some of the value-based issues on this point. There's a problem there. I think there are broader issues that you could be talking about concerning the way people are perceiving this. You in essence suggest that people are using this as an alternative to birth control, and I didn't hear any information that suggested that a large percentage of the abortions take place among women who use no birth control. That would have been helpful to make that particular point, and then you could suggest that we've become casual about this, and that we are choosing something that is problematic as opposed to something that would be a reasonable solution to the problem that nobody's going to have those objections to. The mental health issues, I didn't really hear much development of proof on that particular point. And there's this implication that there's some problem that's happening to society as a result of easy access to abortion, and I'm not exactly sure what the problem is to society, except that it comes down to your judgment and the position of many opponents of abortion that says that this is a life. And so if that's the argument that you want to make, it might be better to make that argument instead. It's a little bit tougher to do because, like I said, sometimes you get into value issues supporting that perspective. And that's not really what the assignment is. So a little bit more proof on the individual points, give it a little more context, and try and find the bigger impact that you were talking about rather than, dancing around the value argument that you are also making. All right, thank you.